don't know if we all got it.
I call it today.
Did you guys
We are
all get a letter
recording.
with this? Did you get,
Okay.
Hold on.
did trustee Sheedy get that? Because she's the newbie?
Did you get a copy of that?
All right, we will be live on Facebook in about 5 seconds.
mail.
Okay. All right. Everybody ready to go tonight?
No.
Got a packed house, so I'll try to get through this. Good evening. This is the Suamico Village Board meeting for Monday, May 18th, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Just a reminder for anybody who wishes to come forward and speak this evening, please provide your name and address in the microphone for the public record. Anybody wish
I'd
to?
like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
And you're a mind reader. So we have a motion from trustee Romas to approve the evening's agenda. Is there a second?
A second.
Excellent. We have a second from, we have a second from our newest trustee, trustee Sheedy. All those in favor of approving the evening's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 And those opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
All right.
Okay, item number 5 this evening, as usual, public appearances. This is for anyone in the audience who wishes to come forward to speak to an item not on the agenda. This is your opportunity to let us know what's on your mind. Be aware that there can be no action taken on the item this evening because it is not noticed on the agenda. However, it could be referred back to staff. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to come forward and speak to an item not on the agenda? This is your opportunity. The floor is yours. Just provide your name and address and let us know what's on your mind, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Tony Chapa, C-H-A-P-A. I reside at 2724 Quail Lane, about a mile north of Barkhausen, over off of J. I've been a resident for 26 years. I am a wildlife photographer. I work with Barkhausen. I work with the DNR. I work with the Southern Bird Alliance of Wisconsin out of Madison. And I am also a member of the Bald Eagle Watch program. We have several nests here in Suamico that I'm sure a lot of people know about. My main concern is with Barkhausen. I have come to the village once or twice over here to the desk to inquire. I've been sent back to Barkhausen. I've talked to Matt Creasy, I think he's the director of the Brown County Parks and Recreation. And I have also talked to a director downtown at the Brown County offices. What I would like is a sign as you turn off of Lineville to come north, where you're passing Barkhausen, to the next street sign, or street that intersects with, Barkhausen has been extended now for about another mile. Well, there's another park area where they've got a bird watching stuff. Well, Barkhausen is, J practically goes through Barkhausen. It is a wildlife preserve. And I've been here for 26 years. I have hit a deer. I don't know if anybody drives J every single day of the week and has lived here for over 20 years, has probably hit a deer, come close to hitting a deer, or have seen the hundreds and hundreds of dead animals throughout the year in front of Barkhausen. I've gone and I've asked for one of those yellow signs like they have out at Bay Beach with the mama duck and the little ducks, because right now, there's 4 families of geese that are living right on J. And the cars actually come to a dead stop there. I'm just afraid something's gonna get run over there, and they did. One of the little chicks got run over last week. So, and I'm one of these guys that scoops them into the ditch when I see all these dead animals out there. Deer, oh my God, the hundreds and hundreds of deer in my 26 years here. It's incredible, the amount of deer. the raccoons. A fisher was run over 2 years ago. That looks like a big wolverine. He looks like an otter. There's families of otters also out in that area that have been run over right in front of Barkhausen. And I'm just going, maybe you guys can help me with the county, because that's what they tell me. It's a county road.
Yes.
The village can't post the signs.
Correct.
Barkhausen can't, but then I'm going to Matt Creasy, you're on the county board. You run the county parks. You are the head of Brown County Parks and Recreation. Your office is right here at Barkhausen. Why wouldn't you guys want to get a sign out on J that says, just warns people about the wildlife that's in this section? Because you're, like I said, you're basically driving through a wildlife preserve as you go down J for that 1.5 mile of road there. So that's kind, I'm just wondering if you guys can give me some help with the county. Talk to somebody that says, hey.
I think we talked to our county supervisor, Tom Lund.
You know, I called down there to this, they told me to call the supervisor. I did. I left a message on it saying, you know what they did? They sent me a survey, a Brown County survey on.
Did the supervisor call you back?
No, didn't call me.
We'll reach out to the supervisor.
But that's what I'm looking for, some signage out there that just
Yeah.
states, this is a wildlife area. Let's kind of, you know, maybe even a lot of the people that do drive through there, they're probably folks that are hitting these wildlife, not knowing, you know, because I think a lot of the locals slow down. They know about the deer, they know about the birds, and all these various, maybe they slow down an extra 5 miles an hour going down that 1 mile stretch of road. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I just want somebody, a voice to say, hey, you know, can we get a sign at the beginning where that park was extended down north of Barkhausen? Start one there. And then right as you turn off of Lineville, where the population of Suamico is, and something else, there's a couple other signs in that area, just to warn people that, hey, there's wildlife up ahead. Just be cautious of that
Yeah,
stretch road.
being a county road, we're gonna have to get, the county is gonna have to okay putting that sign up. That's a big issue.
Scott,
Go ahead.
so, not sure if you're available tomorrow at 4:30, but we have a Public Health and Safety Committee. And just so happens that the Brown County Highway Commissioner and the supervisor will be here for that meeting. So if you're available tomorrow at 4:30 in this room, you can talk to him. Otherwise, we can reach out as well and pass along the message.
Well, if you would, it might be happy, because tomorrow at 4:30, I'm going to be at Lambeau for my company retirement dinner. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we can share the message. That's,
But if I were available tomorrow, I would be there
Sure you would.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was Brown County Supervisor with whoever deals with the
Lund.
signage and,
well, Supervisor Lund is the elected
Right.
official, and then Chris Hardy's your Brown County Highway Commissioner.
Who's our other elected?
Jim Pyle, but it would be not his district.
Right.
technically.
yeah. I was paying my taxes last year down at the office, and I just wandered into an office, and then I said, hey, can anybody give me some help here? And they go, what's the problem? I said, this problem, it's not a problem, but I says, the can keeps been kicked down the road for the last so many years. I go, and she goes, well, here, contact this guy. And if this guy doesn't contact you, call this guy.
Was it-
And, but like I said, the next thing I did was I got a survey in the mail wanting to know about,
Yeah, that doesn't solve much.
yeah.
There was wasn't there a deer crossing sign? I mean, years ago, this is years ago. I used to live on J, kitty corner from Idlewild, and I took that road every morning and every night. And I thought there was a deer crossing sign up there at one time.
There may have been, but not in,
Like,
not in the last 20 years.
probably in the early
not in the last
2000s.
20 years.
Okay,
And like I said, I worked for 40 years in the paper mills,
yeah,
shift worker.
sure.
So I drove that road at every hour, and I've watched people just right in front of me, literally, this,
Yeah,
smack a deer. I saw a motorcyclist in there last year, into the ditch with the deer, and it's just,
yikes.
maybe we can just get some guys to slow down a little bit on that stretch, and maybe, who knows, maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, but just one of these signs, I think they got them up as you go down Nicolay Drive by Bay Beach. They got, like I said, that mother duck with the little ones, or they got a deer crossing one, or wildlife ahead.
Sure.
I went online and I saw all the different signage for a wildlife crossing or whatever. And I'm sure we've all seen them, the different.
And maybe we can do, public health and safety is the right place for that, to have this discussion, because they can look at the accident history, with regard to wildlife on that stretch too, and that might help to make the case.
Well, it used to be at one time, Jay was the #1 deer kill road in Brown County. Jay used to be the #1 deer
Wow.
kill road. And Jay goes all the way up toward O'Connell, almost there.
Yeah.
41 going, but Jay, wished I would have saved the article because it was in the Press Gazette about it being the #1 deer kill road in the county, so.
Onerous.
I'm just worried about that little stretch there in front of Barkhausen,
Well-
because it is a wildlife preserve.
We'll take it forward in public health and safety and see what we can, if we can get any attention to it.
And that's all I ask, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yep,
Thank you for the education.
yeah, thank you. I'm free to go? Thank you.
You certainly are.
Have a good,
But
Yeah, sure.
stay off of Jay, though.
Otherwise, I would be there.
I'm sure. Yeah.
have a good retirement.
Yeah. Good job getting out.
Okay, other public appearances, anyone going once, twice, 3 times? Okay, let's continue on. Consent agenda this evening, previous minutes of the village board dated May 4th, 2026. Item B, March 2026, animal control report. Item C, April 2026, rec report. Item D, April 2026, municipal court report. Item E, April 2026, treasurer's report. Item F, 2026, committee appointments. Item G, temporary Class B licenses for HISA baseball tournaments 2026. Temporary Class B, June 12th through 14th, 2026 at Idlewild, 1500 Cottonwood Drive. And then we have I'm not going to read all of these. There's a significant list of items 2 through 6 in addition to this for Class B licenses. And then we have item 2, new zoo 2026 events, and there are 3 of those for Class B licenses. That is what we have on our consent agenda. Discussion on the consent agenda. Anyone?
I have one question or clarification. So when I was looking through the check register for the village, I remember being at, I don't know how many meetings ago it was, when we talked about the Mink Ranch Road. It was the one where we talked about doing some sort of improvement. And I thought there was a discussion about the rent covered the utilities. But then there's a check for WPS for the utilities for electric and gas for 3070 Mink Ranch Road. So is it, we collect the rent and then, because I did not see the deposits for, I couldn't see where the deposits were for rent on and it might be that it's grouped, but is it, we collect the rent and the rent covers this amount? Because I thought when it was discussed, the rent was somebody,
Yeah,
Rent's an addition. She covers all utilities plus plays rent, so.
yep, and so once we get the bill, we pay it with our other WPS bill, it's all kind of connected. And then we take that exact amount and send an invoice to Angie for that.
okay, so she gets invoiced out and then she pays that invoice in addition to her rent? Didn't seem
Yes.
like the rent
Yep.
amount covered
Correct.
this.
Yep. So it's broken out on our invoice with the different items, this being one of them, the utilities,
Okay.
and then the rent.
Okay. All right. And then where do you show, I couldn't see on the report where rents collected were. Did I miss it?
I'd have to look at where that gets recorded. I'm not sure exactly what account that goes into offhand.
Okay. I didn't find it under any of the,
It goes in the sewer.
Oh, that's right, the rent does go to sewer, so that would not be part of the treasurer's report, as that's just the general fund.
got it.
So you won't see it there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I saw the fishing day went quite well again, even though it was very cold. A lot of folks in mittens and everything else, but a lot of people here.
Did a little better, but kids had fun.
Yeah, that's the important thing. That's such a great event. Okay. Anything else? We tried calling you.
Thing's been ringing since you left.
Okay. Anybody
to
else?
approve
Other,
the
a
consent
motion? I have a motion to approve from trustee Romas to approve the consent agenda items A through G. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews this evening to approve this consent agenda. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items A through G, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Very well. Okay, item 7, administration items, 2024-2026 strategic plan progress report, Administrator Kaker.
Thank you. So periodically, it's prudent for us to take a look-see at our progress with our strategic plan document. This will probably be our last check-in of it. It's a similar report as we did last time. And I won't go through each item, but if there is any comments, questions, thoughts, or concerns, I'm happy to address them or facilitate a board discussion on it.
Anyone?
Oh, this thing in the packet was way too small.
Okay.
Comments from those who attended? Anybody?
I thought it was very informational.
Very difficult, very involved discussion. I think, how long did that meeting go last? The review? I mean, we were here until almost, was it?
It was about
Are you talking about the
2:40,
planning commission?
Yes.
It was about 3 hours.
Yeah, about 3 hours.
close to it.
So it was a long, long meeting, but hopefully we're making some progress. Okay?
The only thing on the strategic plan that I would, it's not important, so it's a minor thing, but if something has been completed, go ahead and change the font color or something to a light gray and just, it's done. Just, as I said, it's a small.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice work on this.
Will we be reviewing this as part of the comprehensive plan?
Well, it was part of the last session. It was in that document. Not sure if it's going to be further discussed.
No. I mean, but the two are, that's why I kind of brought up the meeting that we just had, because these two are somewhat tied together. Okay? Nothing else? All right. Item number 8 this evening, Fire Department items, Resolution 26006, inoperable grant. Chief Bertler.
Thank you. I'll keep this short and sweet. So this grant, we applied for last year. Didn't think we were going to get, luckily got it. This year, the focus was on Northeast Wisconsin region. Basically changed the date from 2025 to 2026, resubmitted, and we're awarded again as well. So I want to thank grant writer Ben Rogers for his work on this again. And like I said, we received this award last year, which will purchase radios and reimburse the equipment replacement reserve. So just looking for a motion to approve or deny Resolution 26006, authorizing the acceptance of $32,000 in grant funding from Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs, Office of Emergency Management.
If we didn't get the grant, would we still get the same radios?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And the training and the programming would have all been the same
Correct.
as if we would have bought them without any grant at all?
Yep.
'Cause
We
I
do
know-
the in-house training. So-
Okay, because I saw some of the conditions of it, and in one of the conditions, it said something was missing for that grant, or,
I guess I have to look at.
got it underlined somewhere. Upon review of the submitted programming template, it was identified that VTAC 37DG is missing.
Okay, yeah, we'll just resubmit that. I mean, we have to submit some documents once we purchase it, and then we submitted the same stuff last year, so we may have not included it when we submitted it this time, so,
But it's not costing any more to get the grant if, okay.
no. We'll resubmit the same documents. That's pretty much what we did, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as the training, Michelle, we, we just did in-house training on that, so.
Okay.
If there's nothing else, then I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 26006, authorizing acceptance of $32,000 in grant funding from the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs / Office of Emergency Communications for the purchase of radios and communication equipment for the Suamico Fire Department.
Second.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 26006, the inoperable grant, as noted by trustee Romas. That has been seconded by trustee McKeefery. Is there any other further discussion or questions with regard to this item? Then we'll have a roll call, please.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery.
Aye.
Trustee Sheedy.
Aye. Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
Very good. Item number 9 this evening is the Public Works items award 2026 road reconstruction project. Administrator Kaker.
Thank you. So we received 2 bids for the capital roadway reconstruction project. That's pretty typical. The lowest bid did come within budget, and we are simply looking for the village board to authorize the contract S2601. Any questions or comments, concerns on this one?
I mentioned a few months back, like roads like Maple Grove, Worthington, and Wellington, they're surrounded, they're sewer only, but they're surrounded by water utility. Is it feasible to put in water at this time? Or it's just something that I think needs to be looked at when you guys are always talking about more users.
I think for this year, it'd likely be unreasonable for us to figure that out, because you'd probably be special assessing those properties. If that's a concept that the village board is interested in pursuing, I think you bundle that as part of the comprehensive plan update, and you have that as a goal moving forward.
I mean, I
Put that in
brought it
there.
up a few months ago, and it was just ignored.
I'm not sure if there was any specific direction given
Okay.
by the board.
Because, you wanted your users, and these are people that are sewer only, and they're literally surrounded by people on the water utility. Just saying, going forward, how do you want to deal with this?
I think I think that's a good point. I think it's going to come, being part of those discussions with the Comprehensive Planning Commission, they're going to make recommendations, or I hope they're going to make recommendations on how we handle that going forward. And then that's going to be rolled up. I think the issue with getting the folks that you just, with regard to the road reconstruction, we'd have to rebid this in the shortness, because the season is short and the short amount of time, it's difficult to get this in. But if we make this a goal, then we hold ourselves accountable to that goal, and we say that, when we're going to be putting in new roads, we're going to be putting in water, and it's a public notice to everybody, and everybody knows that this is, and they can come to the meetings and speak to it and tell us why it doesn't make sense, and then we have to explain why it does make sense. And
I mean, after a while, if you raise your family and you have a big family and you're all on sewer only, you've got a really good deal going. But once you're one person left in a household and you're still being billed 14,000 gallons, what do you tell that person? That's the only thing you can tell them. The only fair way to do it is a water meter. I mean, I know there's expense involved with that, but it's not really all that fair the way it's done there. And I know nothing's going to be done about it, nothing ever is, but it deserved being mentioned.
I don't know that nothing is going to be done about it. We're actively, if you came to the Comprehensive Planning Commission, this is a big topic meeting. This is a huge topic. The well that we have is a huge topic. Getting users on, as you said yourself in this very meeting, is a big topic, and we've discussed it. So to say that, nothing's going to be done about it, we're at a point where nothing being done about it can't be done anymore, period. So, and, for anybody listening or whatever, and for all of us sitting on this board, the decisions that we're going to have to make on behalf of this village are not going to be fun. They're not going to be good decisions. They're not going to be good decisions for me. They're not going to be good decisions for everyone. They're going to be good decisions for Suamico, but they're not going to be good decisions that everybody's going to like. But they're decisions that we have to make because we don't have a choice anymore. We kicked the can down the road, to your point, Michelle. We kicked the can down the road a long time, you know, and tried to skirt this fine line, you know, between sewer and water and adding users and not adding users. And, you know, we don't have that choice anymore. We don't have that luxury anymore. We need the infrastructure. We cannot get by without the infrastructure, and we have to pay for the infrastructure. And we've talked about fair. When you look at that and you talk about fair, I don't, you know, everybody has a different rationalization for what fair means. You know, and we all pay for our water. I'm on my own water, my own septic. I've said it 100 times. Every time you bring this up, I pay a huge amount of money for my septic system, a huge amount of money. To replace it is $16,000. Divide that up over the cost of your water on a quarterly basis, and how many years of water have I had to pay for? So, and I'm not alone. There's a lot of folks in the village like that. But, so whatever we do with the water utility and whatever money we're going to spend on it, it's not going to directly benefit me, but I'm a citizen of Suamico, so the decisions that we have to make are for everyone in Suamico, and I'm a person in Suamico who won't directly benefit from the water tower, but we got to make these decisions. So something is going to get done, unless this board decides to kick the can down the road again, which I doubt.
There's a lot more complicated decisions ahead of us because the survey results came out. And what are the top 10 things that this village wants? And all of them are expensive. And so there's a lot of amenities that the people are asking for. Yet number 3 on the list is to reduce taxes. And so there's a lot of explaining that's ahead of us relative to these investments. And if you haven't had a chance to take a peek at those, I'd encourage you to look at, you know, what some of those they are. And the water tower is just one of those. And so, although I would caution everybody, and again, I appreciate the survey that we did, it was represented by 32 data points of this village. There's 44 people were involved, or 54, but 32 people actually took the survey. And so we have to be careful with, this is good input, and we should use this to make decisions of, but it's 32 data points. And I don't know how many people voted in our village. Maybe 50% of our village can vote. So people of what I'll say, can't say 12,000 people, but maybe people of 18 or older. That's a pretty small sample size. But I guess my point is, we've got some interesting decisions and conversations coming.
So I'm in support of spending this money for this work. I do have a question for you, Trustee Icker, if I could. Which road were you talking about? Was it Maple? Which one was it? Or is it all of them?
Maple Grove.
Maple Grove, okay. Mr. Caker, could you educate me? I know it's a big ask, but I would like you to try on what the local road improvement project, the
Oh, I'd love to.
LRIP
LRIP, yep.
is.
So the Local Road Improvement Program is a program funded by the state of Wisconsin. It's part of their annual budget or biannual budget. And every few years, there's a certain amount of money that's allocated to Brown County. And then Brown County has a formula which uses population and total road mileage, which dictates how much each community gets.
Okay.
And so this is the year that we get allocated funding, and we can use it for whichever roads that we deem appropriate.
Okay, so it sounds like a relatively objective formula that they use. Okay.
Correct.
Next education time for Mike. So when we have, because I got that, nice job. So we have this road, Maple Grove, Worthington Court, Wellington. I don't know how big it is. I don't even care at this point. It's not pertinent to what I'm going to ask. Is the village within its rights to take money from LRIP or the general fund, anything besides the sewer and water district, to put in infrastructure in that road?
The road is
Are we
paid for
within-
by the village.
The
The
water.
water infrastructure is paid by the water utility,
could I-
or special assessment.
Yeah, could I,
So my understanding would be that you cannot take money that's intended for the general fund and apply it to a enterprise fund, which would be water, sewer, garbage
okay,
recycling.
so general fund,
et cetera.
no.
That's my understanding.
I understand. And, okay. LRIP? Same thing?
Yes.
No. Okay. Are there any, and this will be my last educate Mike question, are there any sources of income out there or money from the state or whoever that we could capture to put infrastructure in of that nature?
So the one main example would be congressional appropriations, which is what we receive for the
Okay.
water tower. I would say anecdotally, I'd be surprised if a project like that would be attractive
Could be so simple.
to somebody in that position. Especially after just receiving $1 million. We've never received any
I
congressional
understand.
funding
So
ever.
that would be the path, is it'd be a special sort of thing that someone in the legislature gets for us for a particular use.
Correct.
That's the only fund that you were aware, okay. Thank you.
And in defense of that, like, we paid for ours when it went through our house. And the water tower is gonna benefit all the users, not just that one road.
Oh, I have no problem with that
You
going
know,
to the water tower.
you know what I mean, though?
What
So I don't,
my point, I guess, is that we may feel like, or you may feel like I'm going kind of against your position, but I'm not. When I look at the water utility, right, I don't see it as specifically a service for individual residents in Suamico. If we have a fire, the water is used to put out a fire, right? It's a draw too. It's sort of like having a business development district or a TID. It brings people in, it brings development in. So I was just curious if there was any other funding source that we could find that could help in a situation like this, where you really, I don't even know, 308,000 isn't a big number. That can't be that long of a road. We have $110,000 left in budget, so my brain goes, well, can we just put the water piping in? But no, because it would come out of the general fund. So I agree with the idea of getting funds to help, because I think the water utility is something that enriches the village as a whole. Just like I could argue that, a county or a little village street that goes out and serves 2 residences. You still take care of that street, you still plow it, you still redo it. If it's a problem, you rebuild it, all those sorts of things. You don't, it's just, to me, it's like, it's a part of what makes the village a whole. So I think we're actually in agreement.
yes and no. I mean,
Darn you.
I don't know, it would be really nice if things would be able to fill in that way and complete the utility in that regard, but you're getting somebody else to pay for someone else's property improvement, and that's a little questionable.
I see where you're coming from there. A little questionable, not a lot questionable. Okay,
So what would be the obstacle of not doing that street? It's the largest line item on this budget until we sort through this decision. Or has this already been a public commitment? If there's this question about what we're gonna do in the future, it's $300,000 that we're gonna, it's basically, we're making a commitment that,
I mean, if we vote in favor of this tonight, you're kicking that can down the road for 30 years.
No, not 30. The road would be done in about 20.
Okay. I'm just saying. And I just felt like I had to bring it up.
no?
Because it's, you talk about adding users, this would be a lot better than putting in apartments instead. I mean, when people talk about adding users, they could be talking about a lot of different ways.
Well, I think it would be something that needs to go on the agenda, so we could identify all the streets, because there's more than just one street that's in that position like that. So you would need to identify the streets, and you sit on that committee, Public Works, so you can identify the streets, and then we can, I mean, you can't do it at the last minute like this.
I know, but I brought it up months ago. So it is what it is.
But then you would have to look at, okay, so how much notice do you give residents then?
I know,
You
you
know,
gotta give them
So,
some,
so
but
there's a process that we would all have to work through and agree on if we're gonna do that.
do you see what I'm saying?
No, totally, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we need to formulate the plan then, plan of action.
So what is, I mean, I don't drive this road, so I don't know what it's like. Is it in disrepair to the point where it has to be done, or there's no other road in this part A through K that has that same situation that Michelle's talking about, correct? Part A is the only road that has the potential of what we're talking about. And so I would be asking the question, is it convenient to be doing Part A? Because Andy's talked about that, is when we're doing these roads to mobilize the equipment, they like to be adjacent. Is this road in such disrepair that we really need to address it now?
Because if you look at it, it's not even by those others.
Why?
Sure it is.
Is there a map? Can somebody pull
Well,
up a map? so
Part
we
A
can
is
see?
all together.
Maple Grove and Worthington and Wellington, they're all.
Yeah, they're
They're all
together,
right in there.
but none of the rest of it.
On these roads.
When these roads were discussed and it was submitted, were there pictures submitted?
Well, there's a pretty lengthy process that we go through. There's a PACER rating we establish basically the rating of each road. And that's how it's decided which roads are completed. And Michelle, you would have been at those Public Works and committee meetings where these roads were discussed.
So where's that information for Part A? What rating was it given and why?
I could not tell you that at this point. I would need Andy. But Maple Grove, where is that one located?
Across from Idlewild Park.
That's gonna be.
That information,
It's off of Riverside Drive.
those PACER ratings are all available though, right?
Runs parallel with J.
Yeah, they do them every spring.
And they-
Was it available in a packet?
Did you-
Like, can we look back at it?
It'd be in the Public
Yeah.
Works.
The lady next to you.
It was.
Trustee Eckert is on the Public Works. You guys have like a list of roads with a PACER rating as part of a packet for those meetings?
Yeah.
There is a list,
Yeah.
there is that list, yeah.
The packets are all online, right? They're all,
Should be.
so we could pull up a packet
That long.
Oh, yeah.
with that information, correct?
Yeah. Makes
We
sense.
meaning,
Well, we
is like
saw
a-
them earlier.
we meaning Alex.
The other nuance here is, my understanding
I
is,
say that at home a lot.
if you have a change order to a contract that's more than 10, it's either 10 or 15%, you can't do that. You'd have to rebid the project. And if you rebid the project at this point, you're getting into the summer when all these contractors have already
I
got
was
their
wondering-
work.
I was wondering the same thing, but then I saw the note on the bottom that says the owner reserves the right to remove certain portions of the project.
Up to a certain percentage.
Oh, is that, okay, up to a certain percent.
Yeah.
I'll sketch that.
It would, to rebid this now would not be wise. Blacktop is fuel-based, and you know it's gonna be higher.
Or we just wait a year.
The PACER ratings are dated September 16th, 2025. So if we go to the packet for Public Works and Utility,
Yeah. I mean, we saw all those.
And I'm sure Andy's not repaving roads that are in good condition.
Well, I can see why Worthington Court and Wellington would fall under that because they're
Connected and.
connected and they're both dead-end roads. I mean, my road got repaved because White Pine got repaved and it's a dead end off of there, so I understand that. And then what's the Pacer, so it's essentially then the Pacer rating for Maple Grove is what we'd look at, correct?
I'm sure Public Works and Utilities looked at all of that. Yep.
It's not the best shape. I mean, I've driven down it. It's a long road, too. It's quite long.
So there's, speaking from the perspective of somebody who went through this process many years ago, because I used to live at the corner of Jay and Carriage, this is a really long process. So, I mean, we have to notice the fact, has to be public meetings on this. There has to be notice to the individuals on Carriage. Because of the special assessment, you just can't special assess somebody out of the blue. You have to get those contracts and those dollar amounts figured out. Essentially, what you would be doing, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially, I think if you're looking at this point, wanting to, and it's the decision of the board, to put water down that road right now, you're not paving it this year, and you're gonna have to rebid that contract. I don't think there's any way around it, because you could not expect the individuals on that road to plan appropriately for a special assessment that in many cases is gonna cost, $10, $15, $20,000 per residence, right? When I lived, and this was in 2006, 2005, when I lived on the corner of Carriage, on the corner of Carriage and Jay, and water was gonna come through there. I was a young person with 2 little kids, and that was gonna cost me $24,000 to put water in. So, and I can only imagine it's a lot more now, and I don't know. And I think rebidding, I mean, it's a decision of the board. There's a lot of, that's just process note.
The timing of this, to Michelle's point, is bad, no matter how you look at this. The question I have is, if we have to rebid it, my guess is you're gonna see 10 or 15% increase. And would we be better served to, if we're gonna invest it in water and sewer, would we be better served somewhere else where we can put more people on the line and get better returns? I just don't think the timing of this is, if we can't pull it off, and, because we have to rebid it, it feels like we're in a position where we almost have to approve it as is.
I agree. I think we're in a cycle of events, and this is just the one right before we get to the comprehensive plan that will address all these issues. We can't keep kicking the cans down the road, but this one is it's in the spot. It's like, there's always one that happens before we don't, and I think that's where we're at.
What's the timeline on this contract, when the work would begin?
I'm sure they would start sometime in June.
June? And what's the estimated completion date?
I don't have that. But typically, it's by August.
The Part A is 26% of the contract.
That particular stretch, I mean, that wouldn't take that whole duration of time, but yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is, and we're going to have to address it, starting with identifying the streets and bring information up, and, there's a whole process. So, yeah, we're stuck for the moment.
Well, and that was the request of Public Works, and I think it is coming forward. The request of Public Works some weeks ago, many weeks, going back prior to your point, Trustee Eckert, was to identify where are the most logical places for us to extend sewer and water. And then having that presented so that we could figure that out in our plan. Maybe this was missed by Public Works, I don't know.
Well, that was more for, I think, vacant property.
Okay.
So this would be a different
So that's another thing to raise.
discussion.
Well, a different discussion, but I think a part of the discussion for Public Works as well is to identify those existing properties so that we don't miss things like this going forward.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion then for the approval of award of contract S-2601 2026 roadway reconstruction project to MCC Incorporated for the bid price of $1,181,323.49 using funds from the Road Reconstruction Fund and LRIP.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the award of the contract S-2601 2026 roadway reconstruction project to MCC Incorporated. That motion was made by trustee Romas in the amount of $1,181,323.49. And that was seconded by trustee Stevens. All right, last chance for any further questions, discussion on this particular item. Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Eckert.
Spending money.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Sheedy.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
All right, we are off to item number 10, which is discussion on future agenda items. Anybody? Future agenda items.
How about what we just talked about? Maybe we should look at, on the same time as a comprehensive plan commission is doing their thing, maybe we as a board can start looking at these roads and thinking about that as well, and provide input to the comprehensive plan committee on what roads we think should get new water and sewer, and then how should we handle it?
So I thought that last meeting, it was discussed that Andy was going to be coming up with a preliminary list for us. What's the due date of that? When are we going to have that?
For what? For expansion?
What we came up with is the vacant lands.
Public Works has it,
Yeah.
and they're going to present it at the next commission meeting
But
in
it-
June.
But it is
June.
not what.
Yeah, that's
what we're
vacant
talking about.
land.
That's
It
different.
is, no,
Yeah.
yeah. there's-
But we're looking for,
where
not
there's
just
current-
vacant land, we're looking
Yeah.
for an entire, I thought it was where
Where
it was
and
going to be
how
mapped out in the
water-
village.
I agree. I think it's like where and how should water be expanded into areas that are currently served by well or just sewer? Like in my subdivision, we're just sewer and we got wells. At what point in time do the residents of my subdivision, should we expect to deal with an assessment so we can plan?
And so you can plan exactly. I mean, that is the most fair way to do it, but it's not up to you yet. You know, it's literally not even to your road yet.
Yeah, I didn't mean to talk about me in that way.
Yeah.
I just thought,
I-
saying that we have
Yeah,
sewer
but I
and
mean,
water and-
yeah, but I mean, this is one that's surrounding it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is something we can definitely put on the Public Works and Utility Commission to flesh out some of these details before we get to a board level. I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
Isn't part of maybe the logic that goes into that is to trustee Eckert's point is when we're surrounded, that might be kind of a checkbox, that, well, we should look at that. But once we establish where this development may happen in the future and we want to make investments with utilities and infrastructure, anything that's in the way or that we go through that area would be a logical conversation. But just to randomly start saying here, 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 and here, that's a tough sell to go to a neighborhood and say, by the way, I'm gonna assess you $30,000. And what's the master plan that's associated? Well, I'm trying to pay for the water tower? That's probably not a good argument.
It's not a
Agreed.
good argument.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
bad
So-
argument.
So I would rather have us make that, yes, they're hand in hand, but I gotta believe that the future development is gonna drive a lot of these decisions of where this secondary investments would happen.
Was there a future agenda item in that?
I think it
Or
got,
just
I think,
discussion going back to Public Works?
that's, I think, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else with future agenda items? Anyone? No? Then I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Trustee Andrews has offered a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting. That's been seconded by trustee Romas. Any further questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning this evening's meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Thank you all.
Does everybody have that summary that we got of the survey? At a
I
board?
don't think they do. I don't think everybody on the board has it.
I think it was included in the,
The last week's, wasn't it?
I think it was in the packet
Yeah.
for the comp plan committee.
It is in
For
the
the
packet
comp
for
plan
the comp
committee,
plan.
but what about this board?